All right, it is here. Absolute Batman #2. The story continues, and man, it does not slow down. This is Jason from the Multiverse. I'm going to walk you through everything I thought. Stick with me. Before we get started, do me a big favor. Like this, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can see content like this whenever it's available. All right, let's get started. Absolute Batman #2. Scott Snyder wrote it. We've got Dragotta drawing again. The artwork is extraordinary. The writing style it's the best that I've ever enjoyed Scott Snyder. In fact, I wasn't a big Snyder, just core Batman fan in the past, but this Absolute Batman is so good. I'm enjoying everything about it. And I've got this feeling now. I've read 2 issues. The second issue came out this past Wednesday. And I have this feeling now where I just know something special is happening. I remember reading Hush when it was coming out, picking up the floppies one by one off the shelves. And I didn't even have a sub back then, so I wasn't always getting the books when I needed them. I remember, though, that it was something special. It was really good. There's been a few storylines in the past, Batman storylines in particular, where as I'm reading them, I'm like, oh, this is different. This is a very different story. Another one was A Lonely Place of Dying, which I don't think is as popular for many people, but I remember reading it thinking, gosh, this is a really extraordinary story. So yeah, this book picks right back up. And if you're reading it along with me, if you're reading it too, we are getting to experience something special. And reading it month by month as the story unfolds, Snyder's doing a great job of making each story self-contained, yet part of a larger arc. You feel like you're getting the beginning, the middle, and the end of a story, but you know that there's this 5-issue arc that you're on. Excellent work, Mr. Snyder. Great job. If you've watched in the past, I've not been spoiling these books because I've been reading them ahead. This one I didn't read ahead. You've had a chance to get this in your hands, though it is pretty soon afterwards. I am going to have some spoilers. So I'm going to try not to walk the whole book. That's not my thing. I don't do story time with Jason. There's plenty of people who do that. What I wanted to talk about, just the things I liked about the book. And hopefully that resonates with you. And if you haven't read it, it won't spoil it to the point where you don't want to get it. I encourage you, go get this book. And there's lots of places you can do it, local comic shop, or you can do it from us at multiverse.shop. As of the time I'm recording, we have a few copies left. We ordered about the same number of these as we ordered the first issue, just on a gamble because we had to order about the same time. We're 5 times our normal size of our Batman order, and it sells out really fast. Number 2, we didn't sell out though. Number 2, we did 5 times, and it has not sold out. We've got a handful of copies left. So here's what happens in this book. We get more Batman action, and we start to see more of his cape in action. We start to see more of his gadgetry show up. I don't want to spoil the big gadget, one of the ones we really want to see. That shows up towards the end of this book, at the end of this issue. The very first fight that we see is super freaking cool. The very first fight that we see, he's using his cape in all new ways. He uses it at one point to stick to the ceiling. He gets cornered and he uses his cape to create a distraction that's really interesting in the story. Just really cool. The use of this new gadget that he has at his disposal in the form of his, I'm going to say it's a nano cape. It's not actually been described, but I'm going to say it's the nano cape. And it's really cool and fun to watch. He's a little reckless is what I'll say. And he's getting himself cornered quite a bit. And it seems like he has been going after things. And Snyder is super fun here. At one point, he's talking from Alfred's perspective. And he says, one thing I'll give him, he's really into the shtick. He's committed to the shtick, I think is what he says. Because, all the bat stuff is going on. One of the fight scenes, he's just so in your face and so hardcore. And Snyder just says, he's Batman AF. And he means something else by AF. The AF means something else, but he's saying, this is the most Batman thing I've seen ever. And it really is. So the fight scenes continue to be great. We don't have a hand chopped off moment on this one, but we do have another one that's pretty fun. He pulls some punches. He's not killing people, but man, they're hurting when he's done with them. That is for absolute sure. We see a little bit more of the development of the other characters. We see Mayor Gordon in the hospital after the events of last issue. And it turns out he is friends with Martha, who is Bruce's mom, of course. So we get to see them, and we get a little bit more backstory on Bruce and what that was like growing up with a single mom and the things that happened in his household there. We get another grouping of all the villains and his normal villains, his rogues gallery, who are now his buddies that he grew up with. We got another sighting of that group this time around. And that sighting was in a poker game, and they all came in, and Bruce joins the poker game. So they feel like the family's all together again, except for one person. We don't have Selena Kyle there, and they have an empty spot for her. So you're not sure what happens with Selena along the way through the book. And he's leveraging his friends. Like, his friends are sort of all out in the world, but they grew up in Crime Alley. They grew up together, so they trust each other. And he's using his friends as sort of informants, a man on the street sort of thing, where they know some stuff that's happening, and having them kind of play off of each other and knowing the personalities of the core characters in the main series, and then how they're tweaking those in this series. It's just fun, full of, I want to say Easter eggs, but it's nods. So we're getting nods to this all over the place. There's a little interplay with jokers that takes place. There's a joker that is played in the card game. And he said, well, I won by this many if you count jokers. And somebody goes, jokers are never welcome here. Let's see what happens with their joker. We saw their joker at the end of last issue. So I'm hoping that we get to see more of him as time goes on. Batman gets himself cornered. The party animals, it turns out they're smarter and more sophisticated than you would think. There's some technology involved that we don't understand yet. And he gets himself cornered. Alfred comes to help save the day, but he's got things well in hand, and we see some really great action. This book did not relent. We get some new gadgetry, some good new fun. It adds to the legend while keeping the pace and the hard-hitting action that we had the last time, which, by the way, is all I want. It is everything that I want. Tells a complete story, part of a bigger arc. It's unfolding slowly on some of the character development and the background pieces, which is exactly the right way to do it. The action with the party animals is in your face, and it's hard, and these poor fools are being crushed by Batman. Right when they think they've got him, he just one-ups them by being that much smarter. It's perfect. It is absolutely the ideal book. So go out and get it. Here's what I'll tell you. Most places are out of them right now. I just saw a bunch of my friends from our retailer group locally. Our Nerd Illuminati gets together for a potluck once a month. And we did that this past Sunday, and they were all already sold out. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of these issues in this arc, make sure you subscribe either at your local comic shop or subscribe with us at multiverse.shop. If you choose to go with us, you get free bags and boards, free shipping with 10 comics or more, and you never miss an issue. So enjoy this great book. Can't wait to come back for number 3. I'll be doing all of them here on the channel.